Podcast episode 33.
Just podcast.
Yeah. More podcast. Yo, take us off live. Let me get another go. Yep. Driveline R&D podcast episode 33. This is Alex Caravan, co-host, co-stock manager of baseball analytics. And I actually had my beer out too early, so I opened it, have not drank it, but drinking a nice Santa Monica. And I mean, I'm not saying nice because I've drank it. I'm just guessing. Santa Monica 310 California Blonde Ale. Lindley.
Lindley, R&D engineer, Driveline Baseball. Can you hear me with the mask?
Yep.
Stay safe. Ripping a Georgetown Lucille IPA.
I'm trying to change everyone's drinks mid-podcast. You got the Georgetown?
Yep.
All right, I'm Anthony Brady, primary host, Driveline R&D podcast, Research and Drinks, episode 33. For anyone listening to this on audio, just a reminder, there's a YouTube link in the description below. This podcast is recorded live every Monday, 4 p.m. PST. Click on the YouTube link to watch the live recording and potentially tune in to the next ones. And I'm drinking the Reuben's Moorish. Greatest beer on this podcast.
More fish?
Oh, God. There it is.
So we got 40 minutes for this podcast, right?
Yep, we got 40 minutes.
All right, let's get it right.
We got less than 40 minutes actually, so this got to be a quick one today, folks. Account? Sorry about that.
Nice.
So been a while since we did the three of us. We can kind of we barely still have enough non-Black Ops related updates to talk about, but yeah, I mean we've got a few guests the last couple episodes, so. If you're a longtime follower and listener, definitely leave some feedback because I don't know about you guys, but I was getting a little bit conscious of maybe there are people out there that don't like guests. I don't know. And I don't want to give an impression that okay, once we land our first guest, now we're going to do only guests or whatever ratio is. Maybe now all our new fans are only non-guests, in which case I'm very down to, appeal to the masses and just completely not talk about anything we're doing and just talk to guests. Just keep asking the same questions like, yeah, so what do you got for people trying to get into baseball analytics? Or yeah, so go ahead and tell us a little about yourself. But that being said, yeah, like we'll probably have something fairly similar where we might do more guests than solo episodes, since we're only doing one episode a week, and we do have a ton of really cool guests lined up. That being said, yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to kind of go into some mocap updates that we've been going on the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, sorry, hitting captures. Lindley, you're gonna have to take this. I'm still editing some stuff. You're good.
Oh yeah. So we are currently working on trying to get our hitting biomechanics, our motion capture assessment, kind of up to par with, or not up to par, but like similar to how we do it with the optical motion capture with the pitching guys. And so actually Anthony and Gretchen just on Friday moved some cameras around, put some shields up on some of the cameras so they don't get hit by the ball, getting the processing pipeline and the report and everything kind of dialed so that we can hopefully at the very least provide some research grade biomechanics with our 3D motion capture system in the lab without having to do a bunch of adjustments every time. So making that process a little bit easier. And well, I think last time we talked about the lab is in the different end of the R&D cage already. So we got that extended. We have a bigger spot for hitters and pitchers it's long enough to go live in. So yeah.
Yeah, hitting biomechanics coming soon. Now we got some logistics out of the way. Just another big data set to be able to start working with. So,
did you guys have to position the cameras like much differently to account for the area of the swing versus area of the pitching motion?
No. The main thing was just to make sure that position them so the cameras wouldn't get hit. Because
okay.
In pitching, I mean, you have like a guaranteed tunnel that the ball's going to go through. Hitting, I mean, you could foul off a ball backwards. So just figuring out where to keep everything so that it's the cameras are safe or at least protected somewhat. So that was the main thing we had to do there. We should be good to go, at least as far as collections go. So
yeah, and then we have to create some new metrics. Working with the training floor on getting what positional and movement metrics we want to report to the athlete and to a coach if we were presenting the biomechanics report to them. So that's kind of the next step after getting the collections process all dialed and everything. So especially now that we have some more help coming in with interns being hired on, we'll have some more hands on deck for getting more data collected, getting more data processed and everything. So yeah. Got to get that all dialed.
Pitching has the pitching biomechanics has the benefit of a decent
existing
amount
data sets
of just research in the past to base things off of. Studies have already been done. ASMI has done a lot of pitching stuff and everything that's come out of that lab. On the hitting side, I don't think there is as much, but at least on the hitting side, it's it's just a rotational movement, and those exist elsewhere. So it's just we can kind of take some stuff from golf, other rotational swinging sports into hitting. I think even racket sports and stuff can be applied there. But I don't know, unless you know of many, Lindley, as far as research studies looking into hitting kinematics. I don't think it's as robust as pitching.
Not too much. There's some force plate stuff because force plates are a little bit easier, I think, to measure, or ground reaction forces are a little bit easier to measure in hitting than they are with pitching.
Yeah.
Because you're not moving around as much. A hitter's feet are in a more static position than a pitcher's, for example, front leg. So there's some force plate analyses out there. I think we reviewed one on one of our early podcasts, but other than that, I think there's pretty minimal amount of kinematic data existing right now in previously published literature.
Yeah, outside of things like K-Vest or other just general kind of consumer grade technologies that already exist, that's kind of where we're at. And it has been a tough thing in terms of what do we put on the report. On the pitching side,
I mean, has that been determined?
No. I mean, it really hasn't. And so we're just going to like figure that out as we go. Kind of like what does matter, what do people want to see, what kind of sticks out the most. At least on the pitching side, we already had an idea of like, even though you can talk, we could talk back and forth about the legitimacy of like early outlines of the event cycle in pitching, where it's like front foot strike, maximum external rotation, all those kind of like things like the arm cocking or late cocking phase. We could talk back and forth about
it's a PG podcast, bro. Take it easy.
I mean, God damn it. It's just even though they did choose to use late cocking, the existence of like events in general, just like as a roadmap to start from, is probably more helpful. On the hitting side, I don't know if we quite had that. I'm pretty sure that even in the hitting certification, like we were kind of figuring out our own, definitions of swing cycles, swing events. I don't think there's like a, one out there that's kind of like the standard, unless there is now. On the hitting side, at least I don't know of any.
No. Oh, we're still trying to kind of develop that with the pitching stuff too. Like that's a big push for abs, right?
Yep. Yeah. Standardized like definitions, event cycles, events. Very, very in on that. It would make research so much easier, and also just like research across labs. Make that like a lot easier to know what actually like people are saying.
Are there any existing like really well developed hitting motion capture labs anywhere publicly?
Again, Lindley brought up a good point, mainly force bait stuff. I don't know of many that are just like purely optical and just like looking at kinematics. I think there are some there's a book called The Biomechanics of Hitting. I don't think that used an optical motion capture system. I think it's by like Bob Keys or something. Could be wrong there. Have you guys heard of that?
I haven't. I've heard of analytics one with a similar title.
There is a book out there called The Biomechanics of Hitting. I do know that, but I don't know of any I don't know of an ASMI style lab that does hitting at that scale, to the scale that like Fleissig and co have done pitching biomechanics research. So
transitioning to another thing that we're working on that is not easily replicable or have too many other labs doing it. We want to get into it. Want to get in a Motus ball or like Motus ball, Motus weighted ball corrections.
Yeah, I could talk about it right now. I'm trying to get into one of my presentations right now that I can pull up a visual for like the trends just to show.
Oh, you're trying to get dirty with the last second screen share?
Oh yeah.
In the meantime, we can fill the silence with other random updates. Caravan, any random updates?
Random updates. I mean, I got some non-random updates I was gonna talk about. I mean, a lot of the stuff I keep talking about that I keep delaying, or not keep delaying, but keep I feel like I'm repeating myself in terms of our software update should finally happen this week. I don't know how many of our listeners are TrackX customers, but if they are, dude, that'd be pretty funny. We just have a bunch of TrackX customers that are like buying it because I'm telling you, Snapshot's coming next week, and actually, the last second set of bugs. Your boy got some more projects. Snapshot's coming next week, but they finally should be coming this week. We'll talk about it more specifically in my update. But otherwise, things have been getting pretty, like pretty broad again in terms of like our projects, since we've gone a couple interns on the R&D side again. So on the analytics side, especially, we obviously interviewed Christian Hook a couple weeks ago on this podcast. He's been great. We also got Noah Thurm and Lusa Gacci, hitting analyst. I think Lusa is currently living in my room as I'm traveling and visiting some friends right now in SoCal.
This is true. This is very true.
How is she as a roommate, dude? Give her a grade compared to me.
Oh, no. Haven't really noticed anything plus or minus. So I guess good. I think that's good, right?
Well, but, I mean, I'm saying compared to me. Does that mean I'm below average, right? If you say you haven't noticed anything plus or minus,
that's a. So Caravan is the replacement level, and she has 0 war.
No, I'd say pretty similar in livability.
Me
But
and Luis are pretty similar roommates, bro. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah. I'm the wrong person to judge this though, because I just like keep to myself, or I'm pretty relaxed with most things, so I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm the wrong person to gauge that quality. So it's tough.
What?
It's also tough because I've also been going to the facility more. So
Oh, you have been?
yeah, I went to the facility.
I just saw your setup over there in a little nook and cranny.
Yeah, dude, Hockey Freak 9's desk. It's my little zone. Got the whiteboard door.
It's very.
What desk are you?
I don't know, man. You'll have to see.
It's right next to where that printer was in the R&D space, where one of those desks used to be.
It's kind of close to York and Ian.
It's in between the desk you sit at and where Ian is. Ian and Garrett.
Yeah, but it's like not on the turf. It's on the like. The hard floor. Yeah.
Oh, are you more in on that than employee space? Also, it's an extremely
extremely
riveting conversation for people who have not been in the new facility.
The employee offices were all like taken up, so I didn't have one. So I got to set up out there. So, but it's good. It's chill. Yeah, no, I spent like a bunch of days at the facility last week. Was working on the.
So I mean that means I'm a better roommate, right? Because like my presence like drags you more to the house. You want to spend more time working.
There's an argument for that. Yeah, I'll agree to that. I'll agree.
Screen share time?
Yeah, ready when you are. Oh gosh. There we go.
You see it?
Yep.
Fire. So this is just an example from like various Motus investigations and our plyo study data that we've talked about previously, where we just had athletes throw at near max intent with various plyo care ball weight. We measured their kinematics, obviously, and then we calculated their joint load at the elbow, and basically found a trend based on ball weight. And we found that as the ball gets heavier, the stress tends to decrease, which you can see here on the right plot. You can see with the lighter balls, the stress is higher, and then they trend downwards towards an average of 100 Newton meters at the 1 kilogram ball, which is the green ball. And then we collected a bunch of data on the floor to do a
Lindley, I got one big criticism for you, my man.
What's up?
One big criticism. Left side, you capitalize kilograms. Right side.
Oh, damn, dude.
I mean, is it a different kilogram? Is that no? I mean, there's probably a different abbreviation, because otherwise it'd be the same, right?
Yeah, they would be the same. And so we did something similar with Motus. We had guys wear the Motus sleeve, or the strap, actually.
Damn it, Caravan.
I got Lindley so
See
rattled.
what you did?
What? Yeah. And you can see that as the ball weight goes up, the mean torque estimated by Motus goes up as well. So we see it, since these are like backwards, they're opposite. We're going to try to do our best to correct this so that as somebody throws with weighted balls with the Motus sensor on, we see a more real trend, or what we think is real based on our internal database with 3D motion capture and other published data sets as well. Yep. So that's something that I've been working on the last couple of weeks, or actually last couple of months, as we got this Plyo Velo data set on the left collected, and going to try to get that implemented into the Motus system and get the workload models working, because since workload is based on torque accumulated over, or like throughout a training session, or throughout 30 days, if torque is being estimated incorrectly, then workload models are going to be incorrect, and then prescription or training prescriptions based on those workload models are going to be incorrect. So we're going to try to fix that up here pretty soon and get it dialed.
Yeah. So past research in our lab says that, right?
Yeah.
Torque should go up as ball weight decreases. The lighter the ball, typically the more torque, more
peak, more peak stress,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then as the ball is heavier, it should go down. Yeah, we were seeing in Motus the kind of like opposite. That just has like so many implications for a normal training day where you do throw a lot of the 1 kilogram ball, a lot of the 450 gram ball, the workload is actually lower on that day compared to what, Motus has been.
And Lindley, you want to talk about how like what the system kind of is going to be for these corrections and what any customers or any users can expect to see?
Yeah. So basically, we're just going to do our best to make it so we're basically assuming that since the 5 ounce work or stress torque estimate from Motus has been validated in our own data sets and also third-party validations and whatnot that have been done previously. We're going to assume that's accurate because it's been validated, and then basically extrapolating both ways from there based on these trends, we're going to adjust torque values in Motus based on the ball weight and how the ball weight compares to the 5 ounce. So if it's heavier and it would typically be overestimated or overestimating torque because the ball weight's higher with Motus, then we would deflate those torque values basically, and then the opposite for the light balls as well. So we can hopefully find a better trend or a more accurate trend to what we see with motion capture lab with the elbow Varus moment. And then once we can be sure that the trend we're seeing is kind of commensurate to what we see in the motion capture lab, then we can kind of push it and try to help improve the workload model. Also, what do you guys got on my big cursor?
Large cursor.
Yeah.
Caravan, pull it together. I need you to talk about tech agnostic expected xwOBA.
It's like
Right,
so. Anyways, one of the big things.
Technical difficulties.
One of the big things that we've been doing for the batted ball reports for the Driveline hitting snapshot. Sorry.
Focus up. Pull it together, man.
Okay, so one of the things we've talked about is the reason it's taking so long to get into production is for our Driveline hitting snapshot. We're doing we're ideally there's a couple of technologies out there: batted ball technologies, swing tech technologies, kinematic technologies. But we want to kind of allow users to pair whatever they're using in gym. So if they're using either HitTrax, TrackMan, Rapsodo, those are the current options we'll have, and then either Blaster DK and then K-Vest as an add-on. It's kind of stuff I've covered before, but one of the things I wanted to do and afford, and the reason kind of the reports have been pushed back, is be able to drop in xwOBA metrics for any combination of technologies, not just have it based on, because classically xwOBA, for people maybe not aware, hopefully most of the listeners of the podcast are aware of xwOBA, which is a more representative sabermetric indicator of a hitter's productivity and skills, and it's based on a certain set of values on MLB data. So usually a walk will be 0.69, hit by pitch will be 0.72, because actually ironically a hit by pitch actually creates more runs over a large sample of data. A single will be 0.89, so forth. And xwOBA tries to predict what your xwOBA would be just based off exit velocity and launch angle and a couple other things. xwOBA is the idea is without actually knowing the result. So if someone's swinging a bat on a HitTrax, HitTrax itself is a form of xwOBA because it kind of gives you a result, and you could do a xwOBA off HitTrax results. You're looking at a long sheet of HitTrax data, and people will have singles, doubles, so forth in there. And you can kind of put together a xwOBA result, but really it'll be an xwOBA. So from my point of view, since I am looking to try to make these hitting snapshots as tech agnostic as possible, I want to be able to give an xwOBA, even if it's TrackMan hitting, Rapsodo hitting, so forth. And one of the features is going to be like an xwOBA heat map. And the interesting thing, and what's, like I said, what's kind of like dragged on this process a little bit, is that a lot of these technologies do have slight differences, and maybe ones will be a little bit more clumped on velocity readings because they're projecting it too. Some are trajectory based, radar based, whatever, but they'll have like different clumps of exit velo or launch angle, or actually, interestingly, bearing, like the horizontal launch angle or launch direction or bearing or whatever you want to call it is slightly different. So like traditionally, where like something like a -45 for a right hand hitter is just down the line on left field, 45 down the line on right field, and then for lefties it's switched. But ideally, like you're thinking like the negative values are pull, the positive values are oppo. Between -15 and 15 is usually middle. So the project has been a little bit more involved than I initially thought, because I've had to create different weights for all those values and be able to like kind of put everything on the same scale. I don't want like someone that hits on TrackMan hitting and then Rhapsody hitting has those same pitches 3 EVs lower and then shifted 5 degrees over. Like not that it's that extreme, but like there are slight differences. And I encourage anybody who really wants to get an nitty gritty. I mean, it's a tough combo too, or it's not a tough combo, but it's like a tricky combo, because some of it, there may be misreads on one. I'm not, you don't want to have a misread on Rhapsody hitting and be like, holy shit, Rhapsody hitting is 30 degrees off on then TrackMan hitting. But to try to give the most encompassing centralized idea of xwOBA, we've had to like kind of play around a little bit with the metrics. And I can talk a little bit more. Like I think like a couple of dozen podcasts ago, I used to be a little bit more, hush hush about like some of the models that go into like some Pro tools and models. And I'm certainly not giving out the exact like formula, because I think those are proprietary. But a lot of xwOBA from those technologies, if we're using the same metrics across multiple technologies, it has been pretty heavily focused on what I just mentioned. Exit velo and launch angle, which I think are no brainers for most people that are into the weeds on hitting tracking technologies and have an idea of like what derives xwOBA, but also the adjusted bearing angle. So usually that involves like putting lefties and righties on the same scale, and then using that using that degree as an additional variable to factor in xwOBA. So yeah, I guess it's a little bit of a sneak peek in one of the projects I've been doing that's soon to see its way onto Edge and TrackX, but also just like a consideration for when you do have, whether you have hitters or trainees or whatever context you're in, and you do have separate tracking technologies running at the same time, and you want to put everything on the same scale. It's really, really key. And I think just for overall understanding of the technology, I think it's really, really key to see what technologies track certain pitches or certain hits or certain swings slightly differently. So that's kind of been I guess that's like kind of my update and what I've been working on.
How similar are the data sets? So like assuming that you have to derive different weights for the different technologies, are they just like you try to pair as many, like this guy has data on these 3 so that we can create like weights based on that? Or is it just you're like separating each of the data sets or the data set for like each technology and separating into playing levels and then figuring out weights based on that? Or
yeah, there's a couple ways. I mean, an easy example of an adjustment could be, say you map track, you have 3,000 swings that are on TrackMan hitting and Rhapsody hitting, and then from the same hitters, and then you just notice like, okay, Rhapsody hitting is traditionally 1 EV lower. So, you just got to take that into consideration, whether padding it a little bit or just like regressing it in terms of standard units, right? Rather than like this guy hit 89 EV factored into his xwOBA calculation. This guy is hitting 0.7 standard deviations above this tracking technology's mean EV. So like, now it's in normalized units. Same thing goes for like, honestly, like the bearing angles were probably the biggest consideration for me when looking at everything. And it's a model like I'm probably gonna push it to production and then keep fiddling with it, because I think it's really interesting, and I think in general that's kind of what I want to do, and a trend I started a while back with the expected exit velocity from the blast and DK metrics and swing profile. I want as best as possible to kind of map certain ideas, proprietary metrics, and metrics across like tracking technologies to allow people not just be like, oh fuck, I have hit tracks, man. Like I don't know what that means. I don't know what the xwOBA on that is, but yeah.
So you'll be able to overcome the like hit tracks doesn't look at spin. Like you'll be able to overcome that with being able to pair those.
Yeah, I'm not factoring in batted ball spin into xwOBA calculations right now.
Oh, okay.
It's batted ball spin is like fairly explainable by the bearing and the exit velocity. Like batted ball spin. It's like Ellen Nathans wrote a bunch of papers on this, but like batted ball spin peaks at a certain like bearing and EV, and then like kind of has like a parabola around it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you said you wanted to continue tinkering with it after it's like pushed and live. What's the best way, or like what are the like methods you do to validate it or to like figure out where to improve it? Do you just like compare it to in-game statistics from guys that you have data on, or?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of like sabermetric based metrics like that, like have to start in the public data realm, because right away you have, millions of max intent, accurate data points. So you like build it from there, and then like, yeah, you exactly, you can validate based on like the translations from tech to tech, and then look at like whatever error metrics you do. Like usually like, like two eat, like the two kind of basic ones would be like some sort of like accuracy, diagnostic, like mean absolute error, mean squared error, and then like some sort of directional thing. Could be a Pearson correlation. Could be a more like specific type of correlation, or like a year to year reliability thing, a few things. But hopping on an article review before we start getting wild at the time here. And no more jokes. No more, dude. No more.
I didn't mean to say that, dude. You guys make fun of me for my cursor, the size of my cursor, all the time.
I would never.
All right, I'm gonna go over the abstract. I actually didn't get. I haven't been through this paper in extreme depth yet, but I thought this is very interesting, especially with sleep being such a hot topic these days. Shout out Dean Jackson, the sleep leaderboard. But this study out of South Africa did a comparison of some sleep measurements and how sleep quality measurements basically, and then they did some description work with like, it's called Get Sleep or Get Stumped, Sleep Behavior in Elite South African Cricket Players During Competition. And this is
This is a banger ass title.
Yeah. Out of
I slept 3 hours last night, by the way. And I got stumped, dude.
You still look good though because of the beard. The beard makes you look like you're awake and alive. Out of Rhodes University.
The beard?
Huh?
Oh, the beard. I was like, dude, I shaved. I was surprised you guys didn't say anything.
No, I just did say something. I said you shaving the beard makes you look alive and awake. All right. Basically they did some like descriptions of like on the road the sleep quality was on average this, and at home it was average this. They did it was on 26 elite South African cricket players, and then they also did some correlations. Sorry, people are talking to me through the window. Of between sleep, pre-match sleep, and then match performance, and they found that with hitters, not as much bowlers, but with hitters, there was a significant correlation between pre-sleep match sleep onset, so like how long it takes you to fall asleep, basically, and then poor 1 day batting strike rate. So that would be a negative, or like worse, or higher strike rate would be worse. So basically, the longer it took you to go to sleep, the on average, the lower or the worse your strike rate was. And then there were also moderate correlations between better batting averages and longer pooled average total sleep. So the total sleep time, average sleep efficiencies, and then subjective sleep quality scores as well. So there was a few different surveys they used, and I actually don't know what device they used for
actual sleep measurement.
Yeah. The turkey test.
Oh, turkey's post hoc.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Procedure. Yeah.
Behavior questionnaire.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a questionnaire for the subjective times. Yeah, I'm not sure.
They just had someone in the room watching them.
Yeah.
Like
Did it with
every 5 minutes. Yo, are you asleep yet?
Did it with video.
They're using Edgertronics.
No travel information.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be super weird with all the flights too.
Yeah, definitely. But they
When
found
did the study get released?
it was very recent. It was just popped up on my Stork notifications in June of this year.
It is very recent.
So
You still posting Stork notifications on Basecamp?
yeah, it's every couple weeks or so, because I don't get as many now, especially that are applicable to baseball. But yeah, I've been tracking my own sleep. I sleep way worse than I thought I did.
What kind of stats you putting up?
5.5 usually on average total sleep, 5.5 to 6.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and then only like 15 minutes of deep sleep. It's absurd.
I didn't realize you were sleeping that little.
No, I'm like in bed for 7, but for whatever reason it says.
What do you think? What are you thinking about?
That's a
Motus torque
question.
estimates.
Yeah, thinking about correcting weighted ball measurements.
Expected xwOBA. Cursor size.
That's right. When's your bike trip starting, Kara?
Different caravan.
Oh, interesting.
I gotta go. I gotta go on a bike. Actually, yeah. Maybe
4 minutes left.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it next podcast. I'll talk about my trip next podcast.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Good.
Oh, do you guys want to talk about Bauer's start?
Yeah, we got 3 more minutes.
Or I mean, I don't know. I said start.
Yeah.
It's kind of still the start of a regular season.
Yeah. Only a third of the season through.
Yeah.
I hope he has a shot at the Cy Young. He's on pace to have a shot at the Cy Young.
I think I feel like it's pretty locked.
Yeah. Well, it's not supposed to be based on playoff numbers, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't think with the playoffs, they wouldn't like tank his chances, would they?
I mean, no.
So
Maybe,
I'm
like theoretically they're not supposed to, but
yeah, I'm
like
pretty sure it's
sometimes.
like a lock at this point, especially after getting the short rest start.
He threw on 3 days.
Is he?
Right?
Is he? I think. I mean, I just went to. I mean, I don't know. It depends. There's like some bad like Cy Young predictors in there. I mean, I think Darvish is still in the convo. Darvish is in the convo.
DeGrom too,
I mean,
right?
Kershaw doesn't have enough innings. DeGrom.
He had one bad start.
Yeah. Is Max Fried in the convo? He's 2.25 ERA. Yeah, I mean, well, actually, one honestly much better podcast than this podcast, or the episode was, or like that episode was. Dan and I went on the D1 Baseball podcast last week. No, not last week. Week before that, and we talked about like they kind of lined it up for me, but they were talking about like just like training and stuff in the off season, and I hit a nice like riff there on Motus and just on like how impressive like Bauer's season has been. I know I said start twice now, given that like clearly a lot of players like did not take the offseason that seriously, or just thought like they didn't have to, like they thought taking it seriously was like relaxing and not like tearing at their arms or whatever.
Right.
So I think this is like, I'm really happy it happened this year, because I think it's a huge boon for the idea of workload management and people being able to ramp up their workload, not just like, oh yeah, you know what, like I'll be even more fresh. I won't have thrown for like 3 months. Yeah. And clearly like that's not the case. And it's like, I mean, it's been clear to us that that's never been the case, but like at least we've been talking about that for a while with like less clear indications, and Bauer's short day starts and everything. So I'm really, really pumped, like the way like they have the way it's panned out. I kind of want to see if I can pull up before this podcast, and I want to see if I can pull up some betting odds on Cy Young awards.
Yeah, I forgot about
Shane Bieber's a lock though. Shane Bieber's a lock for sure.
Shane Bieber is a lock on the other side. Yeah.
Speaking of locks.
Yeah, Darvish is there, and I think DeGrom was close, but I think he is like last start wasn't strong enough to.
Give me next 30 seconds. Give me some guesses on what without looking anything up. Give me a guess on what kind of favorite is Bauer.
Well, it's tough because I have they updated since his last start.
Assume yes.
Assume yes, and I think
we got 40 seconds.
I would say like Bauer plus 150, Darvish close, maybe less, I guess. DeGrom,
plus 150. Okay.
DeGrom.
What do you got, Lindley? We got to end
the podcast in 10 seconds.
I started a timer.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. What do we got?
I don't know, dude. I clicked on a thing that was from July 6th. I'm gonna guess plus 190.
All right, we'll figure out what the betting odds are for Trevor Bauer.
I got it.
On the next episode of the Driveline R&D podcast.